Okay. You awake? Okay. So there's a lyric there, wake me up when it's over. I'm going to suggest you don't wait that long. When I'm wiser and I'm older, I don't think you need to get any older to get wiser. Many people do think that as we get older, we get wiser. That would be a nice thought, but that doesn't necessarily really happen, does it? Some people can stay just as unwise throughout their entire lifetime, right? So age does not mean you get wiser, right? Age just means you have more opportunity to choose wisdom. So, it also says, I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start. I start by waking up. So 2014, we decided to make the year I Am Awake. And what I realized is that as I decided to wake up and really be awake this year, I seemed to be traveling a lot. You know, I just got back from Kauai. I'm about to go to Pittsburgh. I'm going to Scotland this summer. Already have my tickets. Yes, I'm so excited. And I realized that waking up means we have to be conscious of the whole world around us. It's not just waking up to ideas, it's waking up to what's in front of us, as Ellen said. It's waking up to the world around us, to that the whole world around us is one thing. So, when I was in Kauai, first of all, I just want to do a shout out to Reverend Rita and Reverend Patrick. And I get a lump in my throat when I say it, because here's two people who sat here in North Hollywood, went to Kauai for a vacation, and came back and said, we're moving to Kauai to open a church. We know no one. We know nothing about the island. We know nothing about living in Hawaii, but we're going to open a church. And I know a lot of people had questions about that, and they would say to me, you should help them. You should tell them that's not a smart idea. They don't know anyone. They're just setting themselves up for blah, 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 blah. If we all listened to every person that had a good intention for us, life would be very difficult. So they didn't listen to any of that. They followed their truth, and they went to Kauai. And last Sunday, at their installation, they had 130 people at their installation. Yeah. And it was a beautiful day, and Reverend Jonathan and I were standing there at one point, and I said, you know, they say that ministers attract congregations to themselves based on who they are. I said, so, you know, I've attracted kind of an arts community, an artistic community, people that like the arts, people that like acting, people that like, you know, all sorts of things, and people that are just interested in that stuff, right? And Jonathan said, well, yeah, and I kind of attracted the same community to me in Toronto. It's kind of a real artistic community, and people really like that I'm from theater and all. I said, yeah, and we looked around and I said, what have they attracted? Because we looked around the room, and Jonathan and I both at the same time, we said, oh my God, every hippie on the island is here. Rita is at her installation barefooted. She told me I couldn't wear a tie, I just wore a shirt. And I was like, okay, and then later in the afternoon, we told Rita, she went, it is not hippies. They are bohemian. But that's what she's attracted, and I got to just live with all of these bohemian hippies all week. And that's not to say they aren't the artistic crowd and the intelligent crowd and the spiritually evolved crowd, because they really are. But I will tell you one thing I noticed there, that every single person that I ran into seemed to be looking for something different. They wanted a new experience of God. They wanted a new understanding of God. And we went down to the beach, and I brought this to show you. The very first thing I saw on the beach, I looked down, and there was this heart, a piece of coral heart. And then I found about 20 of them. I just kept walking and finding heart after heart after heart. And I realized that I was there to find my heart. I was there to find the heart of this teaching again. And it's not that I don't have it, because I do. I have the heart of this teaching. My heart has opened more and more every single day of my ministry. I came into this a student of Dr. David Walker, who many would say was not a heart person, but a mind person. He was a thinking person. He was about the thought and the creative thought of this. And the heart wasn't something we really focused that much on. And when I came into my ministry, I came in here with guns a-blazing. You are what you think, and here's how you use your mind, and it's done unto you as you believe, and all the belief stuff, and the creative energy of the mind, and now I'm like, okay, that's nice, and that works, it's scientifically proven. Where's the heart? How do we get back to the heart? How do we realize it's not just the science of mind, it's the science of mind and spirit? I still don't know why they changed the title of that book from the science of mind and spirit to just the science of mind. But it's kind of indicative of where the movement went. And I'm here to tell you, we need to bring the heart back into the science of mind. You know, many people believe that God has failed them. I talk to a lot of people who believe that God has failed them. But I got to tell you, God has not failed us. Religion, perhaps, has failed us. But God has not failed us. Our understanding of God, perhaps, has failed us. But not God itself. That hasn't failed us. On the island of Kauai, I was surrounded by so much God, you just couldn't miss it. You couldn't avoid it. I woke up every single morning. I began CPR last week there, which meant that in order to be on an 8 o'clock call, I had to be up at 5 o'clock. Well, the roosters start crowing at around 4, and they clearly do not read time. And these roosters, they're all over the island. Everywhere you look, there are roosters and hens and little chickies running all over the island. They're like pigeons of Hawaii. They're everywhere. But these roosters, every morning, the first morning it was really cute and so beautiful. The first morning. Friday, as I woke up to do CPR, I was sitting preparing for CPR, and I swear to God, this rooster must have had my name on it. Because I think he spent the whole week just waiting for my last day. He came right next to me, right under the window I was sitting next to, and let out this cock-a-doodle-doo that literally knocked me off my chair. Woke Jonathan up. He's like, what? I said, it's just the rooster. And I'm literally falling off of my chair because this thing just screamed at me. But you know what I got? I got it. The universe screams at us. Wake up. That's what roosters do. They're saying, wake up. Actually, they're saying, this is my turf. But we have interpreted it into, wake up. So Kauai is filled with the universe saying, wake up, at all times of the day, too. By the way, roosters don't just cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning. They do it all day long. And all night long, they just cock-a-doodle-doo. All the time. So, I really had a great understanding of what it means to wake up. And the birds. I gave a workshop called Mind Over Money, and they decided they wanted to do it outdoors, which is just magnificent. But they did it outdoors on the day it decided to rain. We were under a tent, so as we started, I started to speak and the rains poured down, so I had to really, and my voice is a little tired, really scream for 2.5 hours while the rain was pouring down. And it was beautiful. But at one moment, this bird landed on a tree right next to me and just started singing its heart out. And one of the Hawaiian ladies came up and whispered to me, she said, you need to know that's the sacred island. That's the sacred bird of our island. And I believe that bird just came here to signify that you are sacred. And I said, could he be quieter? No. I didn't say that. I just stood there watching this bird, and it was so beautiful. And it just kept singing and singing and singing, almost till I was done. And as soon as when I was done, I turned and looked, and it just flew away. How can you not believe that you are one with all of this when you stand in the midst of that? The mountains of Kauai. Just looking at the mountains blew me away. The trees and the ocean. You know, it's not hard to feel one with all of that. So on our last day, Reverend Jonathan and I went to a place called Queen's Bath. Have any of you been to Queen's Bath? Oh my word. It's a rainforest. And you walk through this gorgeous rainforest, and there are these little falls everywhere in a stream, and then you you climb down these rocks, and you turn a corner, and suddenly the immensity of the ocean is literally just pouring itself at all of these rocks. And it was one of those days that was a storm cloud day, and the waves, I'm telling you, were bigger than this building. And we're about to walk onto the rocks, and Jonathan's like, whoa, come here. And I come back and he goes, read this. And I looked down and it said, many people have died on these rocks. Right? Please be careful. Don't go out to the edge. And then it had like those stick numbers with crossed off to show you how many people have died so far. And then it had like a couple spaces for extra ones. And Jonathan was like, James, I know that you're a renegade, and I know, but please don't go far out. I goes, well, I have to get far enough out to at least see the ocean. And so Jonathan's behind me as I'm going out. He goes, that's enough. That's far enough. You can see the ocean. That's it. Stop there. Stop. And I did go out to the end, just because I trusted that the ocean wasn't going to carry me off with it. And if it did, what better way to be one with the world? So, it would have made a great story, wouldn't it have? No, would not have. So, I go out there and the ocean is just crashing and crashing and crashing, and it was just so spectacular. And I realized the ferocity, the bigness of the ocean was being matched in my body. And as the waves crashed on the shore, I could feel my body, not crashing, but I could feel the energy in me crashing with it. And I really felt one with the pulse of this ocean. And I just was taken away. And we both stood there. Jonathan walked to a different area, and we both meditated, and we just thought. And I thought to myself, before I left for Kauai, I was dealing with the concept of authenticity, what it means to be authentic. And I had this awakening, this aha, which I wanted to bring to you today. And when I got to Kauai, it didn't leave me. Because authenticity has a lot to do with duality. And on the island, I kept noticing that there was no duality everywhere I looked. And they talked about religion on the island and about the many gods and the not the monotheism, but the polytheism, that there was so many gods. But really one God, but so many names for God. There was the God of the ocean. There was the God of the sky. There was the God of the trees. All of these different gods. And that in the old days of Hawaii, in the original days of Hawaii on the island, the natives didn't believe in a God or church. They didn't go to church. They built an whatever you want to call it, an altar to whatever God they were dealing with. If they were fishermen, they built something for the fisherman god. If they were potters, they built something for the potter god. They built an altar for the home god. There were just all of these gods, which as I listened to it, I was like, so in other words, it was all God. All God. All the different aspects of God, which isn't that what we teach? It's so funny when you go back and look at our ancient teachings, our ancient wisdom. They seem to be a little closer to the truth than where we have gotten to all of these years of Christianity. And I don't mean to demean Christianity, because I think Christianity is on its way back to what it was supposed to be about in the beginning. So, and we certainly are. So, duality. So, I want to tell you what authentic means. Authentic means of undisputed origin. Of undisputed origin. There's a lot of talk about authenticity. Are you being your authentic self? Are you being your authentic self? This is authentic for me to do. This isn't. This is authentic. But what does it mean? So, we had a night called Story Night, and there was a Hawaiian kahuna, a master teacher. She was 85 years old, and she really seemed to be the reincarnation of Bloody Mary from South Pacific. And she was hysterically funny, but also very wise, and she was just great. And she started talking about the authentic self. And I was like, oh, wow. And it was towards the end of the week. I thought, okay, I came here with this, and now I'm hearing a little more about this. And I talked to her later about it. And here's what I'm really understanding about authenticity. We think that there is an authentic self somewhere that we are to become, or that we are to be. That there is an authentic part of us, an authentic part of us that defines who we really should, bless you, really should be, right? But if we're saying that there is an authentic part of us, this is authentic and this is not, then we're teaching duality. As though this can be God and this is not. So when I am a little, as Ellen said, when I get a little frustrated, that's not God, that's not my authentic self. But if it's all God, how can that be inauthentic? And how can this be more authentic? Is there really such a thing as authenticity, as something specific in and of itself? And I really came to the understanding, no, there's not. There's not. It's another way for us to teach duality and live duality, as though there's something I have to be that makes me God, as though there's something I have to do that actually puts me in the realm of my authentic self, as though every other time I am not my authentic self. You all getting this? You getting where I'm going? Like, this whole middle's like, nope. Okay, so let's start this way. I am God. Let's all say that.
I am God.
Are there times when you're not God? No, there can't be, right? So, what does it mean then to be authentic? What is authenticity? What is it? When I say I am living an authentic life, what do I mean? If I'm always God, how can I be inauthentic? Well, I really got it. At least I have it now, for now. This is what I understand. If God is everything and not something I have to aspire to, then it's all about choice, isn't it? If everything is authentic because it's all God, then it's really just a matter of choice, isn't it? And isn't that what we teach? We are cognitive beings that have the power of mind, the power of choice. I get to choose what I want to do. Not what's authentic, but I get to choose what I want to do. Now, here's when I can say I'm being authentic. And Ellen actually said it. I was so glad you said this when you spoke. Let's just say I know that what's mine to do is to travel the world, sell everything and travel the world. And I just want to be free and go travel the world. Someone I met on the island, that's what they were in the process of doing. Traveling the world. They got rid of everything and they're just traveling the world. They put all their money in the bank. They can get cash anywhere they go. They are just traveling the world. And when they were telling me this, I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. And I thought to myself, and that's not something I want to do right now. But I knew that. But it is what they want to do. So, if they didn't do that, and they knew it was theirs to do, they were living an inauthentic life. Because they weren't being authentic with what they knew they wanted to do. That's the only way we can actually say, I am authentic. I am living an authentic life. My authenticity is, I know what's mine to do, and I do it. I am awake to the life that is mine to live. So I live authenticity when I actually do what I want to do. Thus, if I'm doing what I don't want to do, it feels inauthentic. Do you know how that feels? When you're doing something, living some life, in some job that you don't want to be doing, you're doing it for the money, and it feels inauthentic, and something feels wrong about it, and you live it anyway, and you do it anyway, because you think you have to, because we've been taught that's how it works. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not how it works, and I don't want you to wait to wake up till it's all over. I want you to get it, that you are a choice right now, because it's all God. What do you want to live? You are living an authentic life to the degree that you live the life you want to live. Today's talk is called The Art of Being Authentic. And it all came home to me in this Hindu monastery that I visited. We were going to a Hindu monastery on the last morning. And it was really early, and Rita was like, if you don't want to get up and go to the Hindu monastery, I was like, no, I do. I want to get up and go to the Hindu monastery. So we go to the monastery, and it's beautiful, of course. I bought this there. These are in the sacred trees there, drop seeds everywhere, and they make jewelry from it. And I bought like tons of them. I just couldn't help it. I kept picking one up going, this one's really good. At one point, I had them up to here. I was like, God, this could be great. This could be my whole outfit one day. So, could you imagine if I came in here? And you know what? If that's what I wanted to do, then I would not be being my authentic self if I chose not to. Really. I'm starting to really get this. It's like, you know what? If I'm doing because I think I have to, that's not authentic. And if I'm going to say I choose to be authentic, I can't do what I'm doing when I don't want to do it. That's the case. Now you have to actually believe you have permission to live like that. Because I don't think most people believe they have permission to live that way. I think we have to keep doing things we don't want to do to get to the end of it, that delayed gratification crap. I didn't mean, it just came out that way. But I grew up with that delayed gratification stuff, and I don't want to delay my gratification. I want to be gratified now because I can, because I know who I am. So I go to the Hindu monastery, and we just lucked out that we got there when they were having their Hindu service. So it was this gorgeous monastery up in the mountains. It was just spectacular. You go in, you take your shoes and socks off, and you go in, and they're all kneeling down. There's incense, and everyone's praying and doing the Hindus, and the prayers are going on, and I'm sitting there. And I don't understand what they're saying, but I can understand the meaning of what they're saying. And they're praying to God, and they're praising God. And it's all about, throwing yourself to the floor. And, really praying to God. And there was a moment I said to myself, I was like, why does this feel good to me? Why does this feel good to me when I know I do not want to pray to God outside of myself? So why am I feeling good? Why is all this energy around me really making me feel calm and peaceful and loving, and my heart's opening, and I start crying? I'm like, unbelievable. My mind is like literally being overtaken by my heart. My mind, even though I'm sitting here thinking what I think I should be thinking, which is, how does this make sense to me? My heart says, oh, shut up. Literally, I could hear it. Shut up. Get out of the way. And my heart overtook my mind. And I was like, all right, so what do I need to know? I found that heart on the first day. Now my heart feels like it's about to burst out of my chest. My mind is saying, shut up. What do I need to know? Because whatever it is, obviously that's what I'm here to get in Kauai. So, all these people were praying to God. If I am God, all these people were praying to me, a part of me. They were recognizing the truth, that God is so powerful. God is so infinite love. God is so filled with all of the good of the universe. And that's what I am. And that's who I am. So how could I not feel that kind of expansion when I recognize what it is I say I believe? I am God. And all of a sudden I found myself like literally on the floor. My head was on the floor, and I was literally in this weird position I didn't know my body could still do. And I'm just crying, and they're still singing, and all of a sudden the thing closed, and they stopped singing, and it went to silence. And I sat up, and everybody was just kind of looking around. There was God everywhere present. And then the thing opened again, and they started praying again, a different song. And it just went on, and I just sat there, and I got it. I was like, oh my God. It doesn't matter if you pray to God, to Yahweh. It doesn't matter if it's the Hindu God or the Buddhist God. It doesn't matter if it's my Aunt Agnes in church doing the rosary bead to the Blessed Mother. It just doesn't matter. They're all praying. God, I wrote, we all pray the same. And here it is, like how many years later, and I'm suddenly seeing what that song really is all about. Prayer, truth, God, love, it's who we are. And when we hear it in any language, in any creed, when we open ourselves up to it and get our head out of it, get our minds out of it, then, oh my God, your heart can just expand wide open. So, for me, I want to be more awake to the heart of what this is all about. I want to be awake to choice. I want to be so authentic that I only choose those things that are in my heart to do. And that's what I'm bringing you today. The awareness and the ability for you to take a look at your life in this month of I am wide awake. Be so awake to all the bumps and all the obstacles and all the roadblocks. Be awake to all of it. And then ask yourself, do I want this? Is this what I want? And if the answer is no, let it go. It really is that simple, because you are of choice. If this isn't what I want to be doing, don't be doing it. Which means it's time for all of us to live our choices. I'm so grateful to have gone to Kauai. I'm so grateful to be going everywhere I go this summer. We are planning a trip to Guatemala in May that I will talk to you all about soon, where we go and work in an orphanage. And we're going to bring a group from this church to go there and spend a week in Guatemala. And I said to Jonathan as we were walking down the rainforest and I was getting really dirty, I said, this is going to be good training for me to go to Guatemala. Because I realized that I've become very comfortable in my life. And sometimes the discomfort of life brings us such awareness if we're willing to be comfortable in that discomfort. So, I invite you at this month, as this month is over, to really take I Am Awake this year and be so awake that you know who you are. Now, here's the thing. If you know who you are and you know what you want and you don't think you can do it, get thee to a practitioner. Because that means you just need someone to know who you are for you, so that you cannot succumb to a world that says, no, you're not. And I have 2 ministers in Kauai that prove that. And I have another one in Toronto that proves that when you say yes, the universe opens its heart up. So I'm here telling you, I am saying yes, and I don't know where we're going. And that's okay, because the God in me knows exactly where we're going. And I am just yesing myself to death. No, I'm yesing myself to life. Knowing that I can always go out to the edge. Regardless of the warnings, I can always go to the edge, and the universe will always answer by supporting me and showing me its power and showing me that that's who I am. And if that's who I am, then that's who you are. I am wide awake. Namaste.